Qaid Azam, Part 364. Muslims a separate nation. That is why those become the principal question: which partition and how are Muslims a separate nation? Unarguably, all this had started just over 100 years ago. Shimla delegation 1906 with separate electorates, but it is not on this narrow foundation had finally got built the assertion of separate nationhood, on which Quaid-e-Azam Muhammad Ali Jinnah had achieved that near impossible of willing into being what enunciated. Muslims are a separate nation. The nation came into existence on 14 August 1947. That controversial call through a persistent reputation of which Jinnah succeeded I beg your pardon, please, in carving out a separate land. How do we now, ex post facto, assess it? Did the birth of Pakistan conclusively prove Jinnah's thesis, or was there actually a rejection of this thesis in the emergence of Bangladesh? This and the other similar ones are rather worrying questions. Did Jinnah's death empty the core of this idea? Although this concept propounded by Jinnah and the path on which he had set his creation, Pakistan, does the reality of it all tally with those that early fundamentals? With the coming into being of Pakistan, did Jinnah's journey end? Or is the past of this idea actually a forerunner of our future? Well, when it comes to Bangladesh, the Bengalis separated their part of the nation, of course, in the name of the subjugated atrocities of those military leaders in West Pakistan. The way they tried to accumulate all things, and of course, sometimes they were subjugated, victimized on the basis of the Bengali languages, sometimes on their Bengali resources. And of course, they could not run a proper polity in their country, which in fact endangered the fundamentals of the statehood. Bangladesh remains here as an independent Muslim country, and that's what the Islamic ideology is all about. That's what the two nation theory is all about. Under no circumstances, Bangladesh could become a part of the United India. Under no compulsion, uh, the Indian armies who were there on the Bengali soils could claim Bangladesh. Bangladesh is a separate country, not part of our Pakistan, but is a Muslim country, and we feel proud of it. And this is the continuation of Qaid Azam Muhammad Ali Jinnah's struggle. And yes, the establishment of Bangladesh was only possible because of the Islamic ideology of Pakistan two nation theory. Now get back to the content again. Towards the end of 1940 1947, Jinnah was both a self-out and the actual political leader of almost entire Muslim community of undivided India. He had started his political life as an early champion of Hindu-Muslim unity, along with total commitment to the cause of the freedom from the British. During that period, he stood unambiguously for a united India. Yet, when he sought a Muslim nation that was through partition, a division, and only in terms of the separation from India, whether internal or external, but as a separate entity, MRA Beg for some years, Jinnah's secretary has written in Jinnah, Islam as such came very little into his thinking, and if asked how mere belief in a common faith by people of the essentially the same ethnic stock could make a nation, he always gave the example of the Americans having proven that the nationalism was purely subjective. If the Muslims thought themselves a nation, well then they were a nation, and what was all there was to it. This was not just a lawyer's argument, it was Jinnah's assertion of his belief in the power of the faith, which he had to be the foundation of nationhood. Even though this kind of reasoning remains riddled with the infirmities for Jinnah, this was the needed and only philosophical, at least so it sounded, platform a kind of a much needed ideological cap